So my pregnancy was terrible. I had an early induction for her, 6 months. My placenta stopped working at around 4 or 5 months. So as a business owner in Atlanta, you see it every day.
Girl.
Okay? Yeah. No, I don't like the nice, nasty, fake girl boss approach.
Yes.
I have worked with a handful. I worked on projects with Candy Burns. I still work with Wu-Tang, being a Shaolin kid, Drummer Boy. Everybody. I was never like, oh, yeah, my dad Kango kid. I'm a Wu-Tang kid. Like, I wasn't doing that because I wanted to be respected in the industry for who I was and the things that I was doing.
Right.
Now I'm at a point where I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I did it on my own, so I'll bring them in, and I'm actually working on some projects right now. It's crazy because, like, you know, that person had enemies in Atlanta, and they were on it. They knew the whole situation from looking behind the scenes, and I got a new job in like 3 days for her arch enemy.
What we do?
Girl, you's a boss mom. Baby girl, you so perfect. Girl, you's a boss mom. Making everything worth it. Girl, you's a boss mom. Stand on all of your business, and when it come to investments, and baby girl, you the realest. Girl, you's a boss mom. Baby girl, you so perfect. Girl, you's a boss mom. Making everything worth it. Girl, you's a boss mom. Stand on all of your business, and when it come to investments, and baby girl, you the realest.
What's up, Boss Moms? My name is Tammy Capri, and we are back with another episode of the Boss Mom Huddle. Today, I have an amazing special guest today. I have Miss Felicity of Felicity Digital Lab sitting on the couch with me today. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So we're going to jump right into this interview, and I'm sure you probably seen the style of it. Let's go. Tell our audience a little bit about you.
Okay, so I am Felicity Swindell of Felicity Digital Lab. That is a full-service digital marketing agency with a signature service in public relations. Personally, I'm all about scaling and growing small businesses through press, visibility, and even events. So that's me.
Nice. So how many, or do you work with a lot of new business owners, or are you more of the established business owners? What type of business owners do you work with?
In the beginning, I mostly did just celebrity publicists and their small businesses.
Okay.
But now we're transitioning into brick and mortar locations.
Nice.
So more of the established businesses with physical locations.
Nice. Good,
Yes,
girl.
I like it a little bit
How long
more.
have you been doing it?
This is my 9th year.
9th.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So you started doing this before you even had your baby, before marriage, before all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
How was the transition?
It's been tough, and I still feel like it's a transition now. With just kind of trying to see the things that I can do and I can't. Like I said, I started off doing publicist work for celebrities and their businesses, which required me to tour a lot.
Okay.
So I would leave for like 6 months at a time.
And you had the freedom to
Do whatever I wanted
mommy,
to.
You wasn't
Yes,
nothing.
I had my house up on Airbnb.
Girl,
and every time I left, we was collecting the checks.
Girl,
and it
yes.
was good. But now with being a mom, like I can't leave for that long. I did it when she was 2 weeks old for stability because, you know, I was single mom at first. And when I leave for about 6 months, I can come back and not work for another like year based off the revenue and stuff that I work. So I'm like, you know what? I think it's a sacrifice that I can make right now to leave her with family, you know, when she's 2 weeks old, come back and then just, that it was my last shebang for touring. But now with transitioning into businesses, that's kind of like a day-to-day operations that doesn't require me to leave or travel, but I do usually have my weekends away from family.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how was that first time? So she's 2 weeks old and
I'm gone.
was gone. How was that for you as a new mom, girl? My anxiety would have been like, oh, my baby.
You know what? For me, I needed it. So my pregnancy was terrible. I had an early induction for her, 6 months. My placenta stopped working at around 4 or 5 months. So I had to go 3 days a week to feed her through IVs internally. But I had a lot of health conditions that led to that moment. So like we knew that this wasn't going to be easy. I was never supposed to have kids, which to add to the matter just being terrible situation with my child's father, like it was just the most chaotic thing. So I had to, like money wise, to be able to just chill and take the time off and really like be a mom, but also just like having the mental space of like I can have a little bit to me, get my brain together, and then after she was delivered, his family and everybody was like, DNA test, we want to be involved. And
are you serious?
2 days after she was born, I did a DNA test and swabs, girl. It was like chaotic, pandemonium, all at once.
What was that like for you, like mentally? I know you said you needed that mental break. But what was that like? Like even dealing with that, knowing that you're dealing with that, you had to put your career on hold. Everything. Now you're a new mom, and then you were a single mom right after. Yep. Like what was it like for Felicity going through that?
It was a lot, honestly. Like I said, because I was a single mom, I was preparing for like finances. My entire pregnancy, I was like preparation. Like, you know, I worked my entire pregnancy, Clayton County Board of Commissioners. I was running programs and doing publicist work for them. So like all the way into my very last day of getting induced, I was at work.
Girl, you good.
While still running my side
you
business
are
of
good.
doing. I had to, like, you know what I mean? I'm a get it by any means necessary. But mentally, I felt like I kept throwing myself in business, you know, to just kind of be distracted. But because of social media, it was like impossible. People were sending me DMs. I had fake pages threatening me. Now in Georgia, I got people pulling up in my house.
What?
Yeah. Oh, girl, it was ghetto, like real bad.
What?
Yes. So mentally, I feel like I wasn't in a good space. You know, after having her, I had postpartum depression for a little bit. And then just kind of like with the relationship that I had with my child's father, it was like a Band-Aid, a slow Band-Aid of new information being released every day that I didn't know.
So you could never really truly heal from it because it was always something
new to deal with.
How did you deal with your postpartum?
Honestly, I didn't. Like I didn't go to therapy at first. I wasn't talking to anybody. Like I was just working and really just kind of like leaning into being a mom.
So
and,
work
like,
was really a distraction for you. That
major
was like
distraction.
Really a distraction for you.
Major.
Okay.
But I met my husband, and I feel like that kind of was my therapy because we were best friends first.
Okay.
And that was my neighbor. Like we're neighbors.
So you
were
knew
neighbors.
him before
he was around my entire pregnancy.
Nice.
He actually built my daughter's nursery. And his family.
Shout out to hubby.
Yeah.
Shout out to hubby.
Invite me.
And y'all are celebrating your 1 year anniversary today. Shout out to hubby.
Yes. But I knew his family first. He had moved down from Memphis to take care of his mom and his sister. His sister had breast cancer at the time, and his mom is a little elderly. So like he came down to take care of them.
Okay.
They were my neighbors.
Okay.
And I'm the youngest on a small cul-de-sac of like 10 houses. So everybody took care of me, and I was like their baby. But I was also everybody's kids. Most people's kids, they're away from home. So I'm taking out trash and, you know, doing other little things for them.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law, she invited me over to like a game night one night and tried to like hook me up with her son.
Mamas be having them agendas.
Yeah, they do. But I loved her. And you know what? It's so great because I don't have family here. And his family has really become my family long before I even knew we were actually going to be
God
family.
gave you that family that you were supposed to have. And it worked out. And I'm happy for that. And I see you smiling.
Yeah, I love
So you must be in a good place. A good place. Take us through, how do you get to, I know your husband and his family play a lot into it, but how do you get to a place of just serenity, just bliss, coming from all of the struggles, everything that was stopping you from doing what you needed to do? How do you bounce back from that?
Faith. Faith. So I think that's one of the major components of my in-laws. They are a praying church family. Mother a pastor, one of his brothers, choir director, musician, the other one, another pastor, and everybody's at different churches.
Okay.
So that major component of just kind of like restoration of faith. Because even before this, I had a lot of different, you know, obstacles in life that did put a rift in my relationship with God. But just having these people, that has changed tremendously. And, you know, it brought me back to church, brought me closer to God, and then just knowing that I can like surrender. You know, the battle was too big for me, the hurt, everything. Like I really was healed through just faith.
I love it.
Releasing and relinquishing control, girl.
Girl, yes.
You know?
Girl, yes.
Yeah.
How is it with building your family now? Like, so he has a bonus daughter. That's his daughter.
Well, yeah, his.
Well, yeah, his. Yeah, he has a bonus daughter. Is it plans for another one? Are we building?
So he doesn't have any kids, and he does want one. This was our conversation actually yesterday, because he's like, I'm ready for another one. I'm like, are you?
Like, I'm just getting back in the flow of things. Give
exactly. Like, I'm just now feeling like life is back to normal. Opportunities are picking back up, because I was pregnant for 9 months and then out of commission of like really working in my field for a year, because I took on like regular 9-to-5s to take care of my daughter, and then also for health and benefits and stuff that you don't get as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And she was a preemie, so she was in the hospital.
So you
all
needed
the time.
those benefits, right?
Yeah. So now I'm like, I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I feel like I'm back where I left off. Things are taking off. And I'm like, a baby? Like, that's another 9 months. And then
Hey,
I'm
you a boss mom. You a boss mom. You can make it. You worked up until your first daughter was born,
but
girl.
not by choice.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to just relax. But I do think that would be the difference this time. I have a supporting family, a supportive husband. You know, that would change. And even though he was involved a lot before, just as friends, you know what I mean? And we kind of had a test run. Like, I see how he is as a father with my daughter.
Right.
Just amazing. Like, I would love that for another one.
And if he was a support just as a friend, just imagine how it's going to be. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But then there's also that trauma of like, what if like this goes wrong? And then, you know, I had to sign all different releases and waivers before giving birth to my daughter because it was a high chance of me dying. Yeah. And I chose my daughter that time. It was a no-brainer. Me and my mom were arguing in the hospital. She was like, no, you're my daughter. You can have another, all this stuff. But to be honest, I was talking to my husband about this. If I had to choose again, I wouldn't choose my child because of my daughter. Like, you know, I know that even though his family is in full support and my husband is full support and I have my family, she has nobody else outside of me.
Outside of you, right.
So I wouldn't sacrifice another kid for her.
And that's a hard pill to swallow as especially when you know you have to open that conversation with your husband.
And he said he wouldn't even be able to choose. Like, if it came down to it, because my mother was in the room at that time, he wouldn't do it. He felt like if he chose me or the opposite way, like, everybody would have something to say. And there would always be somebody he had to answer to. Right. So he's like, I don't even want it. Like, you figure that out, you sign it, and whatever it is, it's going to be okay. But then he also was like, we ain't gonna have no problems. Like, it's gonna be good. And I'm like, that's ideal, but you wasn't the one living it.
But you always got to think of that because you went through it. Exactly. Now, it also can definitely be a reaction to a traumatic experience. Yep. But like you said, you have the faith. Yeah. And God is a miracle worker. So you never know what's going to be in your future. Right. But just to have that just to have that safe space with him to be able to discuss that. And those are important and those are key facts because it's going to help keep you sane. Like, it's not pressure for you. I have to do this for my husband. I have to do, you know what I'm saying? So he seems like he's very supportive. And he makes sure,
like, he told me, he was like, if all we have is denim, that's enough. Like, he's like, I'll be fine. Like, and we have a 10-year age gap. So he's 36, I'm 26. So he's like, I went all my life not having no kids, I'll be fine. Like, you know. But
now you got Denim. And I love her name, by the way. And I told you that's my daughter's name.
I know. Yeah. That's
love
crazy.
Her name. Yes. So let's get back into Miss Felicity and what you do. What would you say is, well, first, being a mom is a job in itself. Girl. Now, I know you were telling the story about having to do the webinar and then mommy mode kicked in. But what would you say is the most challenging part besides having to leave her? What would you say, and what's the most challenging part about being a mom and still trying to grow your business?
Yeah. I would say, like, just the mental of it all, because you constantly have to make decisions that other people don't. Like, I was just sitting down and talking with my husband because I got an opportunity to go to D.C. for a residency from September through November to continue building an app that I'm working on. But
from September to November, so this is
3
not
months.
Just
3 months in D.C. But they're fully funding it, $10,000 stipend. Like, they believe in it. Let's run it.
Yes.
But nobody else would have to think about that. Like, you know, it would just be, I'm gone, it's it. But then outside of just leaving, what impact does me leaving have on my child? Like, you know what I mean? And then also just because we have this blended family, the component of, well, who does she go to? Like, is she staying here? Am I going to try to do everything? But also understanding, I know my husband, he would be having a mental breakdown if he had to do 3 months by himself. But then also being able to be like, you know what? She can go to grandma for 3 months. And I feel like having those moments when you can be selfish, like that selfish versus selfless thing. Like, you're living every day for someone all the time.
Absolutely.
Everything you do is for that person. So I feel like as moms, and especially as entrepreneurs, we should be able to have those moments where you choose yourself or
but when do
choose
you
your
know
business.
when do you know when to choose yourself?
I don't know. Like, that's not something that I feel like I'm equipped to answer. Like, I'm very still early. You know, she's only 2 in the motherhood journey. I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't take that role on because I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
I love what you do because you are in a space to where, especially when you grow to your, because you're not even where God plans for you. And I could see it and I could feel it. You have the opportunity to take your child. You're going to have the opportunity to take your whole family to if you got to be away for 6 months, you know what? We going away for 6 months. We're going to live here for 6 months. You can be the Beyonce of the whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, just have that flexibility. And I love that. So a lot of moms don't have that or are not fortunate enough to have that, or where they're growing their space that they don't have the flexibility to take their child. But I can see in your industry, it's possible for you to take your daughter.
Yeah.
So that whole choosing yourself, you probably could just choose all of you when it comes to stuff like that. Now, choosing yourself, of course, when it comes to, okay, I'm glad my daughter is away. Come and send her away with grandmom. I need my me time, of course. But when it comes to your career and what you love, me personally, I don't feel like someone should ever have to choose themselves, because what you do should align with you, your family values, your goals, and everything.
Yes.
And that's what I strive to work for. Like, what we doing here, like, pretty soon you'll probably see denim around here telling you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Should.
So it's like what we're building here is something that, you know, is family oriented. And I don't know if you follow Toby, and I hope I'm not messing his name, Ngwende.
No,
Toby,
I need to check him out.
So he is an artist, and his wife, him, and her name is Fat.
Yeah.
He has a song, and in his song he's saying, if I can't bring my wife and my kids to Brooklyn, I'm not coming. And I just thought that was so dope and powerful. Like, yo, like, that is amazing. I want to be able to, if I can't bring my kids, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know? Because that's what it's about. Like, I'll come without my kids, depending on how that shit looks. But just having that flexibility
to
like,
do it.
I can do. Boom.
For sure.
Yes. So what are some things that you really want to show her? Because she's a girl. You know, and girls are fun. Yeah. Girls are busy and they're fun. She's only 2, but she's going to soak up some things at this young age. Yeah. What are some things that you really want to show her about being a boss mom, this powerful mogul, this person she can look up to? What are some key things that you want to make sure you show her?
Empathy. I didn't have that early on. Being a kid who was kind of born into the industry and then like pivoting to find my own way and like doing what it is that I want, I had the luxury of knowing the right people and just kind of having that chip on my shoulder in comparison to the next person. And obviously life will humble you and you learn those lessons to be a little bit more humble and empathetic to the next person. But I would love her to start off that way and just have a natural, like, you know, dose of empathy for anybody and just know that you're never better than the next person. Well, yeah, we are. We are. But don't ever be too big or too prideful to help the next person who doesn't have the same resources.
You treat the
exactly.
CEO.
Yeah.
I get you.
Because those were life lessons that I had to learn along the way. So that's the first thing that I would always want her to like have instilled, especially as a business owner in Atlanta. You see it every day.
Girl.
Okay? Yeah. No, I don't like the nice, nasty, fake girl boss approach.
Yes.
No. I think that's the one thing that everybody who knows me would say about me. Like, I am genuine and authentic. And if I see, like, I always tell people, because everybody says, well, you know, working with a marketing agency or working with a publicist can be so expensive. But I always say, like, if I see the passion in a person, I'm not too worried about the profit. Yeah. Like, we can find a way. That's my job, to make sure that I get paid or make the money. But again, like, that authenticity is important. Yeah. And a lot of people do not have it.
I like how you put that. I like how you put that empathy and to show her that, girl, she just because her name is, and when I say her name, Denim, I think of my denim, and I think of the things that I want to instill in her. Right. Empathy, it wasn't ever anything that came to mind. So that's why I like how you put that, and I'm going to take that into consideration of being mindful of that, because you're right. Yeah, you are absolutely right. Yeah. So she is 2. Now, in these last 2 years, with your business, what is the major difference from now? You were young, no kids, 9 years ago. Yeah. Now you have a child. What is the major difference on the type of work you accept? Does it play a part on who you work with, how you work with them, and in what capacity, or is it just the same, or does it not matter?
That's great. So for me, that focal point is structure.
Okay.
So like, I'm really big on schedule, time, emails, releases, etc. because I try to maximize my 24 hours. Like I said, I mostly do my work 12 to 4 throughout the week, and then weekends, I'm all in. Okay. So if it doesn't align in that, and I feel like it's structured enough for me to participate, I may fall back or be like, you know what, I guess it's a really dope project concept that you have in mind. Maybe tweak it a little bit and bring it back to me when it's ready. So I'm really big on structure. And I don't think that there's like a level between like beginner or advanced. Like I said, I'm not that person. Like it's more so just passion. Like, does it align with me and what I got going on right now because we have our agendas behind the scene.
Yeah.
So like if I'm rolling out a campaign, or right now, like I said, I'm really working on this app that I have. If it don't fall somewhere into what I got going on, I may decline it, but not necessarily as a client. For me, for clients, I just don't want nobody that's in the industry no more. Unless they're previous clients, I'm done with that. I'm done.
Wait, so I need to hear of an experience. What are we done with people in the industry? Are they too demanding? What is it?
I have worked with a handful. I worked on projects with Candy Burns. I still work with Wu-Tang, being a Shaolin kid, Drummer Boy, everybody. And I have some amazing clients that are still in my archive that I love.
Okay.
But there is a form of a level of entitlement that does come with these people. Okay. But also that 24/7 workaround of support that they need, just kind of from team that I can no longer provide as a mother.
That middle of the night call, hey, I need this.
I'm off at 6.
Yeah.
When 6 hits, if it ain't hit me before then, I can't really help you. But then also money, like now working with more corporate contracts or government contracts or brick and mortar locations, there's a lot more money there than it is. Like you can run up $1 million real quick with a celebrity, but it's not long-term money. Like, you know what I mean? It's a lot more footwork that has to be done when you acquire that money versus working with these corporate contracts where the budget is already set from the beginning. And we're not, like, making it off of events and bookings and vendor tours. And so that security for me is important right now with running operations, but also being a mom.
Okay.
And there's no financial stability within working in that industry. It's kind of like risky, up and down all the time.
Got you. So you mentioned that you have an app coming out.
Yes, I do.
What's going on with this app?
And I got my trademark back, so we can speak about it now.
Shout out to you.
Yes, I am working on an app called Plug Me. And being a publicist, like I said, and kind of transitioning out of the celebrity industry space, there's a need for people to have access to public relations, especially small business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives. And
I can agree.
People don't know what it is.
Right.
And then the people who do know what it is think that it's too expensive or it's not obtainable to them. So the app is very similar to like Tinder or Hinge, where you kind of like swipe and match.
With your publicist.
Yes, but
girl, you are a genius.
You would swipe and match though with different people, but businesses, entrepreneurs, etc. So like if we have it set up through filters. So like say you're a small business owner and right now you got merchandise for the Boss Mom Huddle. You can swipe and match with different influencers and creatives and book right that. Like, you know, people who have already filtered their budgets. Girl, yes. Yeah, you know, because a lot of times even when working with, you know, influencers, you got to find people who are micro, macro, nano, dependent on your budget.
Yeah.
That could already be filtered. So you're not looking and reaching out to DMs and
You
Instagrams.
just solved a lot of people's problems.
Yes.
You just solved a lot of people's problems.
And that's just one of our components. Like, we got events that you can do in there. And so, like I said, the app is called Plug Me. So everything is like electricity themed. So like when you do match with somebody, that's an electric connection. Like, and it's cute, but also connect ed. Like ed being like education, where influencers, creators, y'all can host classes, but also monetize off the classes that you're having. So like you can get paid for the people who are attending, and instead of having to use third-party platforms like Zoom and stuff for webinars, you can do it right through the app.
Girl, when we dropping? When we releasing?
Girl, hopefully in November once this program is done, because we're in the MVP stage.
I really like the idea, and just to think on another level like that, girl. Yeah,
because eventually, you know, we have to retire.
Right.
So I'm like, this is my retirement, my safety exit plan. This app is going to be it, and I'm not going to have to do this forever.
And with the way things are changing, with this whole AI and electronics, like,
girl, I love it.
We got to get on the ball. I love it too. I mean, I fall in the middle of it. I come from an era where we was like hitting the pavement to now transitioning, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to understand
to do both.
The computer version, the technology behind it all. But I can see how it is transforming, and just to think on another level like that. Like most people don't think that. Most people are tunnel vision to what they want to do and try to focus so much on building that. It's like, how else can we generate an income where we're not working so hard?
Right.
And this is what I love about the huddle. And I'm glad you shared that with the huddle, because there is so much money to be made out here.
It is.
And so much easy money to be made out here.
It's
the work to do it is hard, but
that part is hard.
It's easy once you get into that motion. So what is a piece of advice you would give to someone who is looking for a marketing agency and have that apprehensiveness, whether it's price, whether it's not knowing who to go with? What piece of advice would you give to them?
I would say come prepared or ready, because like that's the exit of like, one, saving you money, but also from getting scammed or being overcharged. Like if you've done your research and you already have a strategy, like a clear strategy as to what you want to do. Like for instance, I was on the webinar the other day and a young lady was like, well, I'm looking for a publicist. Like how can a publicist help me as an author? I'm like, well, my job is to come up with a strategy to sell, but I need to know what you're trying to strategize. Like, okay, you're an author. What book are we pushing? Right. You know what I mean? So having those questions already pre-asked to yourself internally, so that when you're talking to the next person, you don't have to go through 7 rounds of consultations for us to figure it out. Like we could do it in the first one because already came with the who, what, when, where, why, and then we can level it up.
When you tell somebody to be ready, do you offer those types of classes or courses? Because you can say be ready, but it's like, okay, well,
what
how do I get
ready?
What am I ready for? I don't know what questions to look for or ask for. You know what I'm saying? So do you help your audience prepare for those?
I absolutely do. So I always do like live trainings, Instagram, but then we do one monthly, I call it the Grind and Design Academy. So like we'll have random topics, but similar to that. Now in depth of that, just because of where I am in my career, that's something they would have to book a consultation for. Like if you wanted to figure out what those things are, we can sit and talk about it. But at one point in time, I did have those, just kind of like chat and choose situations where we dive into it. Yeah. Because you're right, not everybody knows.
They don't know what to
which is why
ask.
I'm transitioning to that app, because I'm tired of those conversations, girl.
Like the app gonna do it for you.
Yes.
I think that is genius.
Yeah.
I think that is genius.
Yes.
So what's one thing that, or if you have 2 or 3, something you regret about motherhood? Now you could be. This is a safe space. I could be. Safe space. And we know you love your baby.
Yeah, I do.
But what are some things you regret about motherhood, or your business, or even making the decision to do marketing?
I would say time. I love my daughter, and unfortunately my health complications put me at a point where I didn't have the option of time. So in college, started off with PCOS, then got endometriosis. Endometriosis goes to 4th stage. Got to 4th stage, and they say, hey, you got a lot of stuff in here. We need to start removing some of these cysts because they could be cancerous. We think that you're going to have ovarian cancer within the next year if we don't change something now. They put me on like these chemo pills, and we were doing a whole bunch of stuff. At that point, I think I was a second semester sophomore going into my first semester of junior year.
Okay.
Froze my eggs. That was a whole process in itself. I'm afraid of needles. Now I'm giving myself needles every day. And then finally going through the harvest and getting the eggs. Now, waiting. I'm with my partner. We're trying because we understood we wanted to be together and have kids, and I had a time limit because they were like, you know what, this is not getting better. We probably need to go in and do a surgery. But the thing about that is they don't wake you up to say, do you want the option before we remove your uterus or do these things? They do it at that moment, and you sign releases there. And I'm like, I'm only 21.
Right.
I'm not ready for that. Obviously, that didn't work out. Different partner, got my daughter. I would have loved to wait like a few more years. I think 32. Like, I would have been okay to have dinner. Yes, absolutely. But time was not on my side. So when I did have this, like, miraculous pregnancy with this guy that I was not expecting to be with long term, I decided, like, no matter what it looked like in terms of his involvement, that I was going to have this baby because I had tried so many times and it didn't work out. Yeah. And now I don't take motherhood as a joke. Like, I'm real serious and deep dive into it. So I think the time, like, if I could have waited longer. In terms of
that was really well said.
I need time.
That was really well said. You need to write a book.
Yeah, I do.
You need to write a book.
I really do.
You just touched on 5 different things, and I'm pretty sure there's branches
everywhere.
For every area you just hit. Cancer alone, like
crazy,
and just having time. Like we take that for granted so much. Yeah, like time is not on any of our sides, but
and at
never
that
know
age, you're not thinking about those things.
Right, because I'm gonna say you're young, you're 21, in college, girl.
Like, no one is thinking about being a mom or having kids. You
have to freeze your eggs, even going through that process.
We
don't even have enough time on this podcast to talk about it. You have to come back.
Exactly. No. But in terms of business, I guess, like for regrets, not being educated to the legal early on. Okay. Like, I got hurt a lot in business, legal-wise. Like, I had a lawsuit with one of y'all favorite creators
Well, we ain't gonna mention no names.
I ain't gonna mention. My NDA is expired.
Oh,
but
well, I mean, if you want to spill the tea, baby, hold on. If you want to spill the tea, I'm all for it.
I've been trying to keep it cute. But I had got into a really nasty lawsuit, and it was also public, like on Instagram, Shade Room posting it, and you know the situation.
I'm about to say,
when the mic drops, I'll tell you some names. But it really could have ended my career in terms of Atlanta and local, and it wasn't my fault. The story behind it was like completely just misshaped, but people have a save themselves mentality, and when you're not protected legally, you take hits to things like that.
All gloves is off, no fair fighting.
Yes.
So even with born into the stardom,
they saved me.
I'm about to say, because it wasn't
no, everybody was like gloves off, because coming to Atlanta when I was like coming into my own, that's not something that I publicized. Like I was never like, oh yeah, my dad Kango kid, I'm a Wu-Tang kid. Like I wasn't doing that because I wanted to be respected in the industry for who I was and the things that I was doing. Right. Now I'm at a point where I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like I did it on my own, so I'll bring them in, and I'm actually working on some projects right now with them. Okay. But nobody knew that until that situation hit, and I'm calling them like, oh, we can call our entertainment attorney. Let's see what we can do. And having those connections pulled me out of that situation. So you like, listen,
I call the goons when I gotta call the goons. I tried to be nice now.
Yeah, and then it was crazy because like, you know, that person had enemies in Atlanta and they were on it. They knew the whole situation from looking behind the scenes, and I got a new job in like 3 days for her arch enemy. Yes, girl.
All right.
And we still cool and we locked in. But yeah, legal.
Wow.
That
was a lot to unpack just now. Like that legal is definitely it's the number one thing you should look at in any business when you want to be a business owner, when you want to build your business. I don't care. Look, get you an LLC for your own real name if you decide to do anything with anybody, if you don't have a business, because it's going to save you. And nowadays, people are just so cruel, bad intentions. They don't care about being moral in business.
They want their money. They want their money.
Protect yourself. Yeah. Protect your whole entity. Protect your family. Protect your livelihood. Yeah. That.
And I know, like early on, we may not have the money for legal because I wasn't making that type of money then. Yeah. But just even knowing like the difference between NDAs, non-competes, like the basics. Like just do the research to know for yourself. Yep. You know.
Yep. Yeah. Even down to the ownership of creating stuff, copyrights, transfer. Like listen.
Oh, because I don't play.
It all matters. It all matters. But this is what we're here for the moms who don't know, for the moms who's watching that may not know. This is what we're here for, to share this information. Yeah. How can people get in contact with you?
So you can always reach out to me on any social platforms at felicity.swindell. I'm every except for Twitter. That's FELICITTAAYY _ Felicity.net, or also LinkedIn, Felicity Swindell.
Nice. Yeah. So y'all hit up Miss Felicity if y'all have questions, if y'all want to work with her. Yeah. Very accessible, sweet lady. I'm so glad we had a chance to talk. I'm so glad your daughter name is Denim, because you know that is a bomb name. We is locked in. And we're going to talk more off camera.
Absolutely.
But thank you for sitting on this couch. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
And for you all, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on any streaming platform, if you like this conversation, if you like or have a question, please comments. Drop a heart, drop a love, drop a number 1, number 2, drop something, but just comment on this episode. Let us know what you think. Also, don't forget to subscribe, y'all. Don't forget to subscribe. We are trying to grow our following. We are trying to get these follows up, so make sure you subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your aunties, tell your cousins, tell your next door neighbor. If you need to tap in with the huddle at our website, it's thebossmomhuddle.com. Our merch store is finally up, y'all. So if y'all want y'all mugs, get y'all mugs. If you want we got t-shirts, we got hoodies coming, and we also have mouse pads. We got more to come, but if you support the huddle, make sure you just tap in with us. All right, y'all. Do you have anything else you want to say before we leave, Miss Felicity?
I'll be back.
Yes, girl. She's an honorary boss mom now. She's an honorary boss mom. Well, that concludes another episode, y'all. Stay tuned for the next, and always huddle up with the boss moms.